The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Wednesday, April 13th, 2016 are currently trading with gold at $1,246.13 an ounce, silver $16.29 an ounce, Texas crude $42.17 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 426 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1970, the Apollo 13 astronauts announced, "Houston, we've got a problem," as a result of a beach-built oxygen tank exploding en route to the moon. The beginning of the Apollo 13 crisis was 46 years ago, today in history. In recent news, more than 400 protesters were arrested last Monday outside of the U.S. Capitol from an organization called Democracy Spring, which is seeking to remove special interests from politics and raise awareness for change on restrictive voter identification laws. The demonstration resulted in arrest for what U.S. Capitol Police deemed unlawful demonstration activity, such as crowding and obstruction. Apparently, the protesters were sitting on the stairs of the east front of Capitol Hill. Democracy Spring said on their website that the protest was held to demand Congress take immediate action to end the corruption of big money in our politics and ensure free and fair elections. Peter Callahan, the group's communication coordinator, stated that, quote, "We see populism on the rise on both sides of the spectrum. Americans are sick and tired of their politicians being bought and paid for. Organizers are vowing to continue the demonstration every day for the duration of a week." The Pentagon declared today that the first phase of military operations against the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria are now over, and that the second phase is being implemented. Colonel Steve Warren, the spokesman for the U.S.-led coalition fighting ISIS, stated that Phase 2 is aimed at dismantling this enemy, while Phase 3 is ultimately the defeat of ISIS. Success in the first phase included the recapture of about 40% of the territory ISIS once held and the annihilation of key leaders and revenue sources. The second phase, now underway, is focusing on fragmenting ISIS and liberating key territories under their control, like taking back Mosul in Iraq and isolating Raqqa in Syria. The Lone Star Lowdown is currently looking for sponsors. If you have a product or a service you'd like to advertise with us, feel free to give me a call at 210-363-2257. This has been Rick Rohde with your Lowdown for April 13th, 2016.
My remedy today.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Groove Law Radio, and we're talking to Philip in South Carolina. I have the wrong name on my caller board here. Okay, Philip. Oops, hold on, your mute didn't take. There we go. Okay, now you're unmuted.
Okay, one last thing. I've been listening to your show and Eddie's show and other shows and doing a lot of reading and stuff, and I'm aware that there's some rights violations and violation against my God-given liberties taking place on a regular basis. And I've become fed up with it. And your show is the first show that I've come across that actually wants to have people go on the offensive and actually do something about the problem. And I like what you do and the work that you and Debbie have done. And I hope you all continue, and I'll do whatever I can to support that in the future.
We can, and it's really a lot easier than it sounds. And there is one major drawback, is once you start doing this, it can become addictive because it is so much fun.
I know. I'm addicted just listening to y'all do it.
You get to watch these officers do this little chicken dance. I was talking to an investigator in Parker County, Texas, a couple days ago, and I had went to him to file criminal complaints, and he did not, against a couple of jailers, and he did not like it one little bit. And he tried to indicate to me that he didn't like it, and I indicated to him that I could care less what he liked. Well, he told me the other day that Mr. Kelton, maybe the reason you're having this problem is that you're rude. I said, well, maybe I am rude. I think I'm just demanding. But it is my purpose to come here and invoke your duty. And it's your job to do your duty. You don't have to like me. I don't have to like you. You just have to do your job. Then I don't have to take you to a grand jury. Do we understand ourselves? He hung up. Oh, that was so much fun. You got to try it once. You ever stood in a courtroom and asked the bailiff to drag the judge down off the bench? Oh, that is so much fun. It's really a mindset. The mindset is they are the servants, you are the master. And they are not to forget it. And we have a few rules here. One of them is never ask a public official to do anything you actually want them to do. Because you never ask a public official to do anything that the law does not specifically require him to do. So that when he doesn't do it, you get to thump him. I called the sergeant and asked him to take a criminal complaint against the assistant warden of the jail, and he refused to take my complaint. And went to the warden and told the warden what I was trying to complain about so the warden could run down and try to circumvent her getting accused. So today I called the captain on internal affairs, and I wanted the captain to take my complaint against the sergeant for not taking my complaint against the warden, and for going to the warden and conspiring with the warden to shield the warden from prosecution. And the captains on the other side listened to me saying, I want to charge him with 3903 Penal Code official oppression, 3805 Penal Code felony shielding from prosecution, and 3606 Penal Code obstruction of justice. Well, Mr. Kelton, I'll need that in writing. I'll bring it to you in the form of a verified criminal affidavit. So he's doing this dance around, trying not to get in the same position that Sergeant Brown is in. And I am having so much fun at his expense.
I don't blame you.
I'm going to give him these complaints, and he's going to follow policy. Now, he's going to ask me, hey, Mr. Kelton, what do you want me to do with these? I've been asked that a number of times, and I always say the same thing. I want you to do exactly what the law commands you to do. And they tend to say, well, what is that? Oh, it's not my place to give you legal advice, and I wouldn't presume to do so. Go read the code. It'll tell you. Because I want them to think that I am deliberately setting them up. And that's because I am.
Yeah.
Once they believe you're coming in there to set them up, you're not going to give them legal advice. You're not going to give them fair warning. You're not going to be reasonable, and you're not going to be understanding.
Yeah.
You're the master. They're the servants. You don't care what their opinions are. You either do it, or I land on you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Okay. In South Carolina, you need to find your official misconduct statute. Look up official misconduct. In Texas, we also have a official oppression statute, but normally official oppression and official misconduct are combined. In Texas, if you misappropriate public funds or public equipment, that's official misconduct. But if you deny someone in a right, that's official oppression. In most states, it all comes under official misconduct. Find that statute and memorize it. That's the catch-all.
Okay.
Anytime a public official fails to perform a duty he's required to perform, misfeasance in office, or exerts or purports to exert an authority he does not expressly have, malfeasance in office, and in the process denies a citizen in full free access to or enjoyment of a right, that's a Class A misdemeanor in the state of Texas. Also a Class A misdemeanor in the Fed under 18 U.S. Code 242. You will have one. Every state has one that reflects 18 U.S. Code 242. Violate any law and deny you in a right. Equal protection of the laws, due process of law. It's an easy one. Once you have it memorized, and you watch, and it doesn't take long to memorize it because it comes up so often. You know, people listen to me talk, and it sounds like I know half the code. Well, I don't. I know about a half a dozen of them because I use them all the time. And if you start working these guys over, you'll be the same way. Same codes keep coming up over and over. Go ahead.
Is it possible for me to use the federal code when I can't find the South Carolina code?
It depends. If the federal code goes to due process, yes.
That's mostly what it is here. That's mostly what it is. Like, for instance, here in South Carolina, when you go to traffic court, there's no prosecutor. There's a statute here in South Carolina which people that don't have bar cards can't represent somebody else.
Yeah, they do that here in okay. It's generally they have misapplied the law. I just sent someone a letter in the jail, and it had lots of what they would construe as legal advice. But I started out the letter by saying that I am not an attorney, and I am not representing myself as an attorney. Therefore, I cannot possibly give legal advice. That's the only way you can give legal advice, is if you hold yourself out as an attorney. If you don't hold yourself out as an attorney, then you give your personal opinion. And I indicated that I'm giving my personal opinion, of which I have a lot. But I wrote this letter and sent it to this woman, not for her, but for the jailers, because they're going to read it before they give it to her. And so I'm telling them, don't even try this nonsense of accusing me of illegal practice of law. You have a right under Constitution to counsel of your choices. Nothing says that counsel has to be a lawyer, unless there may be some specific statutes. For instance, in Texas, there are 2 instances where you cannot represent someone else. And there's only one instance. You cannot represent someone in a property damage or personal injury suit. That's it. That's exactly what the code says. So you might look up illegal practice of law and see what it actually says.
This is what it says. I got it right here. It says, no person may either practice law or solicit the legal cause of another person or entity in this state unless he is enrolled as a member of the South Carolina Bar pursuant to applicable court rules or otherwise authorized to perform prescribed legal activities by action of the Supreme Court of South Carolina, period. Now, we're talking about a cop representing the city or the state or the county in these traffic issues or whatever.
So,
thinking that to face my accuser is being denied.
Okay, hold on. Back up and read that again. There's one word I'm looking for.
Okay. No person may either practice law or solicit the legal cause of another person or entity in this
entity. There it is, entity. Okay. I would say you got the cop unless there is a special provision. If it just said one person may not solicit the legal cause of another person, then the cop representing the state, it'd be dubious as whether the state would be considered a person, but it said person or entity.
Right.
It sounds like you got him.
This type of, and it says, it goes on, it says, this type of conduct that is subject of any charge filed pursuant to this section must have been defined as the unauthorized practice of law by the Supreme Court of South Carolina prior to any charge being filed.
Okay, hang on. About to go to break. Randy Kelton, Rule of Law Radio. Our call-in number, 512-646-1984. Give us a call. We've got another hour and 45 minutes, and we've got a bunch of callers, so if you have a question or comment, call and get in line. If you can't get in, we only hold 4 callers.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Well, don't let nothing get to you. Only the Father can deliver you. So don't let bad mind people hurt you.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, the Bat Pack, Rule of Law Radio, and we're talking to Phil in South Carolina. Okay, Phil.
Okay.
Let me finish what I was saying about the call board. Our call board will only hold 4 callers. So if you call in and you can't get in, wait till I go to the next caller, and that'll open up a slot. Okay, go ahead, Phil.
And I just want you to address this constitutional issue. I can hang up from here and let somebody else get on. I appreciate your work, Randy, and welcome to the Motley Pack.
Okay, and don't be a stranger. I don't have anybody in South Carolina kicking butt and taking names.
Well, I haven't started kicking any butt yet. I got all of your paperwork from the Jurisprudence site. I'm trying to fix it up for South Carolina and see how it goes. Yeah,
mainly go through that habeas corpus, the one I wrote for the kid in Conroe. That one, it's written in Texas law, but it's primarily based on federal law.
A lot of due process in that.
Yes, and the process I present in that document, they do it all over the state, all over the country. Okay. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go to Charles in Georgia. Hello, Charles.
How's it going?
I am doing good. What do you have for us today?
All right. Today I'm going to speak to what to do when when the prosecutor enters a request for a default judgment. Now, this is in family court. You might be familiar with what's going on, and I'm not sure if we want to get all the way into that or not.
Okay. Default judgment. Did he do it in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Okay. What was the claim for default judgment? Okay. Let me back up a minute. You can only get default judgment. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm thinking summary judgment. Okay. Go ahead. Let me be quiet. Let you go ahead and tell me what he claimed.
All right. Their claim is the defendant is not an incompetent person. The defendant is not a military service. The defendant was served the summons and complaint. Let me see. The default of the defendant for failure to appear, plead, or otherwise defend is entered. That's what it's saying at the bottom of the default.
Default. Okay. Did you receive service?
I got service. As you know, this has been going on since August.
Yes.
And I got service. The only service I got was they wanted me to fill out an order, and I crossed everything out on this order.
Okay. Wait a minute. Did you receive service of the original legal action?
Yes. Actually, no, I didn't. What happened was back in August when they tried to serve me, I was in Michigan. I was here. And then they started to move forward back then. And then once...
Oh, okay. Okay, that's easy enough. 70% of all default judgments are overturned. Most of them are overturned for lack of service. So you should answer this by claiming that you were never properly served. And how did you find out that an action existed?
They sent something to my old address, which was where my mom stayed, and she said that something came there, and she refused it. And then maybe about a month later, they sent a sheriff or something over there to the house looking for me. And so I made a phone call, and that's how later.
Okay, so they were looking for you in order to serve a subpoena on you. Did your mother tell them that you didn't live there?
Yep. Sure.
Okay. Then you should bar-grieve the lawyer and give notice to the court. You should ask for summary judgment to dismiss because you were never properly served. That you were living in Georgia. They tried to serve you at an old address, and the sheriff, the process server, had it made known to him that you no longer lived in the state. and the lawyer tried to serve you in the state anyway.
Okay.
So the default judgments, motion for default judgment, this is a default judgment for failure to respond, to failure to file an answer. And they almost always get thrown out for lack of service. So just give them notice that you were never properly served in Georgia. You live in Georgia. You lived in Georgia at the time. And the process server was given notice that you didn't live in the state. They never properly served you. Then that'll never get past the Court of Appeals. Have you removed this to the federal court?
Okay. Now this is what happened. I'm gonna get to that in a second. Let's go back to this. I need to answer, and I'm going to answer in a motion. Is that correct, or I'm going to answer in a request?
I would answer that in a motion in your own motion for default judgment.
In my own motion, answer that default judgment with a motion for default judgment.
Yes, move to dismiss the case for lack of proper service. Oppose the motion for default judgment by stating the facts of how they tried to serve at your mother's residence, and they were informed that you did not live there and you were never properly served.
Right.
So, and then based on those facts, you move for default judgment against the plaintiff for failure to properly serve you. And then bar grieve the lawyer for filing the frivolous pleading. See, their problem is they got to have something showing that you were properly served. They're claiming you were properly served. Now they have to prove it. And if you weren't properly served, they don't have your signature. They can't prove it.
Okay, filing. Well, okay, now that over to your next question. Now that helps me out a lot there. I'm gonna file a motion for a default judgment for filing. For failure to notify.
Failure to notify.
Failure to properly notify. Okay. Now on to your next question that you had. What was the next question that you had? Have I removed this to the federal courts? Okay. Now this has been going on since August. And what I did in November, once they did send a notice, and I was noticed here in Georgia back in November.
Okay, hang on. We're about to go to break. This is Randy Kelton, Rule of Law Radio. Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, the Motley Pack. Rule of Law Radio. I call in number 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
Don't believe everything you read about radio frequency microchips or RFID. It's a stealthy technology with some shocking applications, but some plans are pure imagination. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back to separate fact from fiction.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Radio frequency identification, or RFID, is a technology that tracks objects using radio waves. Yes, there are plans to put the chips into consumer products. There's an implantable version, and governments and businesses want to use it to track people. But some reported applications are hogwash. Example, the NutriSmart RFID food system. It's an absurd notion by college student Hans Harmes. His prototype system envisions RFID tags in food to track what we eat from plate to potty. While there are ingestible RFID tags, fortunately the NutriSmart RFID system is pure science fiction, at least for now. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Wheeler Radio, and we're talking to Charles in Georgia. Hello, Charles. Where were we?
All right. Okay, we were getting to removal to the federal courts. And that's what you were asking me about.
Yes.
What happened was you told me about that in November when you said I think there was some kind of a time limit to have this thing removed, a 30-day window where I can hurry up and have it moved. Well, I filed a notice of removal in the court at that time, and I was running around trying to figure out where to file this thing. And then I sent my notice of removal to, and I think I did this in error, I sent it to the Ninth, the Court of Appeals, the Ninth District Court of, not the District Court of Appeals, but the Ninth Federal Court of Appeals by mistake. And I kept calling over there, and they said, well, we're not filing anything, and we're going to be sending you a letter back. I think the Court of Appeals sent me a letter back saying this is not the right jurisdiction. It's not right to file it in this court. You would have to, they didn't tell me where to file it. They just said you can't file it in this court. And what I was supposed to do was file it in the district court. Well, I never followed back up and filed it in the district court, but I did give notice to the family court to have the case removed to the federal courts.
Okay, that's all you have to do.
Okay. Well, they never did anything. I waited for a response in the mail. The only next response I got was basically they moved forward with the next step.
Okay, go to the district court with the petition for writ of mandamus. Your local district, federal district court, and give them notice that, include the notice of removal and ask the court to order the local court to remove it to the Fed.
With a writ of mandamus?
Yes. A writ of mandamus, you ask one court to mandate to another court to order that court to do something it's required to do.
Okay, and you probably wouldn't know this, but under what federal statute do I cite when I get this writ of mandamus, or I only thing I have to do is simply ask them in this writ?
Yeah, I don't know the name, the statute number, but just look up removal. It's in 18 U.S. Code 1335, I believe. 1335 and 1441. So just look up federal removal, and you'll get hits right on it. And you can probably find a brief or a treatise by some lawyer explaining how to do it all. It's pretty straightforward.
I saw that in the district court. Now, I'm here in Georgia. So this is my problem. This is my whole entire problem. I don't have money to run up and down I-75 to get up to.
No, you remove it to the court that's close to you.
Thank God. I'm so glad I called you on this. Because I'm going to tell you what I did on Wednesday. I called a lawyer here to ask them what I'm supposed to do. And I'm not going to say any names. She told me, hey, I'm going to have to request a hearing. And during that hearing, I'm just going to have to go up to the trial court and say what I have to say at the trial court. I said, okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I hung up and I said, I'm calling Randy because she's ridiculous. That didn't even sound right.
Yeah. I just filed the mandamus with your local district court, and it'll be, you look on the internet, you won't have any problem finding one. This thing of removal for the courts is a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. The federal courts don't like state courts messing with them. And if you file a notice of removal, then this court will order them to get it done.
Excellent. Okay, so that's what I'm going to work on Monday. And do I have, if they grant this, do I have a lawsuit? I mean, I am going to bar grieve this prosecutor. Should I also be go to the Judicial Qualifications Commission against this judge for steamrolling this case like he did?
You should file criminally against the judge. The judge exerted or purported to exert an authority he did not expressly have and in the process denied you in the full and free access to or enjoyment of a right. That's a crime.
18.
And since the removal was to the Fed, you can file it in the Fed.
Okay. I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to keep on going with this because I want to see how far down the ladder they went, because they know that I'm here and I can't defend, and I can't, they won't let me access the records from my computer here. So I would actually have to go physically go get the records, and they won't really let my brother went to go get the records one time, but it's not like he stays around the corner from his court. So it also creates a thing for him. So
that is the very reason for the right to remove, is to keep a state from from subjecting a citizen of another state to these kind of improper procedures.
Okay.
So the federal court's likely to sting them good for this.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
This is what I'm going to do.
Okay, good. Have fun with it.
Thank you, Randy. And I'll be sending you something in your email probably over the weekend if you get a chance to check it out.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to Oliver in Tennessee. Hello, Oliver.
How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing good. What do you have for us today?
Got a couple things. Well, the first thing is I called. I've been keeping up with y'all earlier about a case where they locked me up when I was stopping to check on another friend of mine, and they locked me up. And I called 911. They also locked me up for a 911 call. So the charges finally got dismissed on the 4th that just passed. And after that, I was really excited because it was like effortless. Just walk in, say, Mr. Olivier, take care of you, have a nice evening. So I went down to the police station. I'm like, well, I'm going to file a complaint. So I asked paperwork to file a complaint. And they're all looking at me like I'm foreign. Like they don't understand. They're like, well, 1 second, we're going to call someone for you. I'm looking around like, you're going to call someone for me? Okay, whatever, So I sat down and wait. I'm waiting for a complaint. Then they called 2 lieutenants down to talk to me. The lieutenant sometimes saying, well, what I needed. I wanted to file a complaint on the officers. And I don't know why they called you. And they were like, well, just talk to us and let us know what happened. And so I talked to them, let them know that our officer falsely arrested us. And I went to court and got everything dismissed, and I want to file a complaint on the officers. And then they were, then I guess the clerks in the back called their chief. Then the chief come in and like, well, didn't I talk to you on the phone? But I called before on the phone. And I'm like, yeah, I'm Oliver, and I want to come file complaints now. And he was like, well, let me see all these papers. And he's like, well, this happened almost a year ago. I'm like, yeah, and everything just got dismissed today. You're like, well, I'm not accepting your complaint because it's more than 30 days. You don't have 30 days to make a complaint. I'm like, I don't have 30 days to make a complaint. I'm like, wait a minute. I called 911 because your cops were harassing me. So what would it make sense for me to come and complain while I'm fighting?
Okay, wait. Hold on. We're about to go to break. Randy Kelton, okay. Vet Pack, Rule of Law Radio. Our call-in number, 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
Easy.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Rule Radio, and we're talking to Oliver in Tennessee. Okay, Oliver. So you went to the chief, and the chief refused to take your complaint. What do you do now?
I got it on record. So the 2 lieutenants are sitting there because they're like shocked from the fact that he arrested us. They also charged me for 911 because I guess they don't know. They're not informed about all this stuff. And I went to court and got dismissed. So they're looking at their chief like, these guys are coming here with a valid cause, and you're blowing them off. And rude. Like you said, they're looking at each other like they've never seen him act like this before. And, he knew that I was coming after him. I was coming after the department. And he was like, you know what, I don't have time for this. And, he stormed upstairs. we stormed upstairs, so the two lieutenants are just sitting there looking at each other like, well, I never heard about no 30-day rule. And I understand, but she was still like, I don't know what just happened. I'm sitting here like, yeah, I don't know what just happened either. But is that, does that make any type of sense to you?
Well, you mean, okay, I missed the last part about what did the chief do? The chief said that you were too late to file the complaint.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened after that?
He was not
move the mic a little further away from your face. It's distorting somewhat. I'm having trouble hearing all of it.
Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay. He said that he was not going to take the complaint, and he was not going to he was not going to entertain us anymore, and he stormed upstairs.
Oh, wonderful!
But so, we have it recorded.
Okay, so what do you do now?
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. What
now you make a criminal complaint against the chief. Is this this is the chief of police of a city, of a municipality?
Yes, yeah, Clarksville Police.
Okay, make a criminal complaint against the chief and take it to the mayor. All mayors are magistrates. The chief works for the mayor. So now you go land on the mayor with a complaint against the chief.
Okay. But when I do that, complaint mayor or chief.
Okay, hold on. Have you made a written statement of what happened here?
No, I got it recorded.
Okay, take your recording. Don't tell anybody you have that recording. Take the recording and turn it into a transcript.
Uh-huh.
And use the exact verbiage. I was in court one time several years ago, and they're asking me about an interaction, and I told them exactly what was said. And it had been a year since the occurrence. And the lawyer said, Mr. Kelton, are you sure that's what was said? Oh, yeah, that's exactly what was said. Well, Mr. Kelton, you must have a fantastic memory. Oh, no, I've got a terrible memory. And the judge, I could see him out of the corner of my eye. He ducked his head and put his head in his hand because he recognized when I was speaking. You know, I'm looking down at my paper. He knows I'm reading a transcript. It was clear I'm reading a transcript. And the lawyer didn't snap. He didn't get it. Well, Mr. Kelton, if you have a terrible memory, how can you be sure this is all accurate? Oh, well, I took it from the recording. Objection, objection. And the judge has got his head in his hand. And he just shook his head. No, counselor, you opened the door. Mr. Kelton gets to walk through it. But that's how you get a recording in. If you tell them you have the recording, they'll object to it. So don't say anything about the recording. Write it down and use that as a statement. And whoever reads it will tend to recognize it as a transcript. They're going to know you recorded them. So now they're screwed. Now they can't lie. Because if they lie, you're going to drag out the recording on them.
Oh, so I don't have to tell them I'm recording. I don't have to tell them that.
Okay, I don't think so in Tennessee. I believe that Pennsylvania may be the only state where you have to tell them. But certainly look up the recording law, recorded right to record in Tennessee to make sure.
Okay. But does that make any type of sense, though? I call you stop me while I'm walking, trying to charge you with it.
Okay. Let me tell you what's going to happen here. Once you start after them, they are not going to want anything to do with you, especially if you go up high fast. Now, these cops, they're used to pushing people around. The mayor's not. And when you go in and ask the mayor to take criminal complaints against the chief, the mayor is not going to be happy with that chief. And then when the mayor doesn't take the complaint, he's going to try to pull his politician moves and talk you out of it. And when he doesn't take your complaint, then you go to like the state police or the county sheriff's department next, and try to get them to take the complaint, and they're going to refuse. Then you file against that guy. You just kind of follow the thunder. Everybody that refuses to act, you file against them. What happens with this is they get to where they don't want anything to do with you, the chief is very likely to tell his people, you leave him alone. Because once you've been to the mayor with a complaint, if a policeman says or does anything that you can in any way take as a threat. For instance, I've had bailiffs tell me, oh, Mr. Kelton, you have to be careful filing these complaints. You can get in a lot of trouble. Witness tampering, obstruction of justice. Yeah, go ahead and try that, Bubba. We'll see how that works out for you. And you do that to them, and they very quickly realize that you're laying in wait for them. You're setting them up. And these guys are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. They are not going to want anything to do with you.
Are you going to tell me one of them is going to take the complaint?
Wait, I couldn't understand that.
Are you telling me that one of them will take the complaint as I'm going up the chain?
No, probably none of them. And once you get up to the district judge, you work your way up. You go to the county sheriff's department, and they'll refuse to take it. And then you go to the district attorney, not county. You go to the prosecuting attorney against the last one that wouldn't take it. Like you go to the sheriff's department, you start with a deputy. I just did this in Parker County. I went to a investigator, and he didn't act on my complaint. So I called back, and I wanted somebody higher up. So I get a sergeant. The sergeant doesn't act on my complaint. So I call back, I get a captain. The captain's not going to respond to my act on my complaint. So then I'll call the sheriff. I'll tell the dispatcher, I need to talk to the sheriff. I need him to take a complaint on one of his captains. So you work your way up to the top.
All right.
And the sheriff is not going to be happy. He's got you down there filing against his people because they won't file against these locals. The sheriff is going to be an unhappy camper. It's all about the politics. They're going to find out that everybody who refuses to act, you're filing against them. So it gets worse. And policemen on the bottom don't matter much. The chief of police, he's hired by the mayor. He doesn't care very much. But the sheriff, he's elected. The mayor, he's elected.
Okay.
They're political. When you start filing criminal charges against the mayor with the sheriff's department, the mayor's going to see, they're not afraid of you. What the mayor's afraid of, when he runs for election again, you're going to take this criminal charge and give it to his opponent. And he's going to have to explain this. And he's going to say, oh, well, this complaint was frivolous. But
it was frivolous. I went to court and I got and found dismissed, not guilty.
Yeah, he's going to tell it's frivolous, but perception is everything. The public will see the mayor having to explain why a citizen is filing criminal charges against him. It's all about the politics. What you do by doing this is you create politics. And you can do this because they are all public servants. You are the master. And they're never to forget it. And what you will find is the higher up the ladder you go, the more professional they are, the more careful with you they are, the less threatening. You don't have any of this nonsense you get with the police department. You get up to the top, and these guys get real serious. And it will be so much fun, you won't believe it. Okay. Keep us up to date on what happens. It's better if you write out criminal complaints and hand each one a written complaint. Make a copy of it and give you the copy.
Okay, I had another issue that's kind of a little crazy too.
Okay, hang on. We're about to go to break. We'll pick that up on the other side. This is Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Rule of Law Radio. I call in number 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
How we're not gonna give in to the fear. Yeah, it's a story.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Rule of Law Radio. We're talking to Oliver in Tennessee. Okay, wait a minute. I need to warn you about one thing when you start this. It'll get to be too much fun. You could get to enjoy it. Are you familiar with the chicken dance?
No.
Okay. When you start doing this, especially if you take them a written statement, you hand it to them, and they'll start reading it, and you'll get to see them do this little chicken dance. That's where they start shifting from one foot to the other. Gee willikers. You will love it. Okay, you had one more question.
No, not like as far as the 30 days from the incident. Does that make any type of sense? Because I'm locked up.
Okay.
I got locked up and called 911.
Are you familiar with the term horse manure?
Okay.
That's what he was trying to feed you. Horse manure.
It's in their policy. Their policy said that 30 days of the incident.
Okay, here's what he's probably referring to. He's referring to a professional conduct complaint. Mm-hmm. Whenever I go to file a complaint on a police officer, they want to send me to internal affairs, and I tell them, "Oh no, wait, no, you misunderstand. His uniform wasn't dirty. He didn't use any foul language. All the buttons were on his uniform. I don't have a professional complaint against this officer." And they always say, "Well, then what is your problem?" "I have a criminal complaint. I need you to arrest him." So the chief was most likely referring to making a professional complaint against the officer for, doing something professionally improper. But that's not what you're doing. You're making a criminal accusation, and most likely the accusation will be official oppression, and statute of limitations are almost certainly going to be 2 years. So your chief looked you right in the eye and lied like a dog.
That means that's after the dismissal, because it got dismissed on the 4th. Just the 4th of this month.
Well, no, it doesn't make it. No, your case has nothing to do with your complaint against the officer.
What?
The one has nothing to do with the other.
Limit? No time limit, no nothing?
No. From the original occurrence, from the time the officer committed the act, the officer subjected you to false imprisonment and restriction at your liberty until the day that it was dismissed. Mm-hmm. On that day starts generally a 2-year clock. Whatever the statute of limitations on an allegation of false official oppression, in most states it's a Class A misdemeanor, next thing to a felony. It's almost always going to be 2 years.
Okay, I'll figure it out later. Let me give you the two of us, because I know you're going to have fun. Like, try not to. I'm going to give other people a chance to. Okay,
Okay, hold on. Let me give you one word of warning. Mm-hmm. Your whole purpose is to bushwhack them. You're the master. They're the servants. You are not reasonable. You are not understanding, and you're not even civil. If they do something wrong, don't tell them. If they violate a law, don't tell them. You don't owe them fair warning. Oh, okay. They tell you, well, you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. You need to go see this other person. Oh, okay. And then you go to the other person and you file criminal charges against this person. Okay. And then they say, what happened? That scoundrel set me up. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. That's when they start getting afraid of you. That's when you start having an effect. If you try to be reasonable with them, they will accuse you of getting agitated. Write agitated down on your paper so it's in front of you. And if a officer gets excited, or the mayor gets excited, or somebody gets angry or excited, ask them not to get agitated. Agitated is a key police term. They'll use it against you to discredit you. You use it against them, it makes them crazy. Okay.
Okay. All right. Me and my friend had a long night. I'm the guy with the burnt house, and thank you for all that advice, because I did my own little thing. I went in there, sat down with them, told them what was up. I was press charges if they went any further, if I got any more letters, if I got anything else, and I'm still deciding on filing suit on the trespass. And they've never bothered me ever since. But I was sleeping. I fell asleep in front of my house one night, and then we woke up. The police was knocking on our window. I'm like, what the hell? We're like, what's going on? And he like opened the window. He's like, well, we need y'all to step out. I'm like, for what? They're like, well, we don't know what's going on here. Like,
wait a minute. Slow down a little bit. I'm having a little trouble understanding you.
Okay. They said that you have to step out the car. I'm like, for what? Because we need to figure out what's going on while you're in the car. Like, I'm in front of my house, and they're like, well, I need you to come outside. I'm like, this is crazy. So I step out my car. They search the passenger. I'm like, what you searching them for? Like, well, we need to figure out who you are and why you out here. I'm like, did somebody call the police? They're like, well, no. I'm like, what you doing? Like, well, you're just sitting here and the car is running, and we don't know what. I'm like, I don't. Like, you have no right to be here. Like, I'm in front of my house. My name is Marsha Oliver. You're searching him for no reason. So,
okay, hold on. This is one of the things that's hard for us to do because we want to be reasonable. When a policeman pulls me over or approaches me and I get about 2 words I don't like, immediately I jerk out my phone, 911. I don't tell the officer what I don't like. I tell the 911 officer what I don't like. Do that quickly. And when you call 911, you have it, that's on record. That's being recorded. So you have created a record of what's going on here. They get real excited about that. And all of a sudden they start getting real careful. So be careful about, trying to explain your rights to a police officer. They hear that 100 times a day. So they're really good at handling you that way. When you dial 911, they are not good at handling that.
They arrested me last time, remember? That's what they arrested me for. Then he threw on the suspended license charge. He was like, well, because I called the captain and I called the captain and lieutenant down, whoever was in charge of them down, they arrested me for calling 911. Then the other driver who pulled the other lady threw in.
Wait a minute, hold on. They arrested you for dialing 911?
Yes, that's what the original arrest for.
Ooh, that's retaliation.
Video.
That's
the video. I had the video, and at the end, the guy said, "Well, since he's going to jail for whatever they brought him up for, I'm just going to throw on the suspended license there too." I have that on video. He states it clearly.
Oh, wonderful! You really need to send a tort letter to the city.
And the guys who woke us up out the car in front of our house, they have video of that too. Their evidence department give us everything we need.
Have you put that on YouTube yet?
Which one?
The one where the officer arrested you for dialing 911.
Not yet. I'm getting a collection of them so I can put them all together so when people can watch them, it could be like a good 2 hours.
Send me an email, Randy@ruleoflawradio.com, and I'll get it to Scott. Actually, hold on just a second. Let me.
Randy, I have one big one in Georgia too. They had it was 5 different police departments surrounding my car, smashed the window, pulled me out the car. It was very entertaining. I just drove to Ashburn, Georgia Thursday, and
okay. Hang on, Scott, are you there? I got you unmuted.
Randy at something. I gotta listen to this again.
Scott, talk to me. Okay, I guess Scott fell asleep. Scott is on here. Scott, he was arrested. The officer broke out his side window and drug him out of the car. And he had it on video, and he put it on YouTube and got 1.8 million hits. These guys got real excited. So if you send me an email to randy@ruleoflawradio.com. You can go to our Logos Radio Network or Rule of Law Radio website, and I've got a link to my email there. And I will get it to Scott and have Scott talk to you about how to post these on eBay to get the best. Post these on YouTube to get the best results from it. When you start getting a lot of hits on YouTube, you'll have every newspaper and television place in the area coming wanting to talk to you.
But right now, I'm sending them to you for review.
Okay, good. I'll get them to Scott.
Okay.
So the thing they hate the worst is sunshine. They don't want the sun shining on their misdeeds.
The one was crazy.
And let me kind of qualify this. I am not at all against the police. The vast majority of the police really want to be good guys. They want to do the right things, and they want to do it for the right reasons. That's why they get into this business. But they get into it, and they find out it's not anything like they thought it was. Most police officers I know hate the system they're in, but they're stuck inside it. If we're going to fix it, if it's going to get fixed, you and I are going to have to fix it. And this is how we do it. Sometimes we have to sting an officer. Okay, I don't want to hurt him. I don't want to injure his career. But sorry, Bubba, life is tough. Hang on, Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Rule of Law Radio. We'll be right back.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
Oh, come on.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Rule of Law Radio, and we're talking to Oliver in Tennessee, and I finally got Scott woke up. Scott, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. We've got Oliver here, and he was arrested for dialing 911. And apparently he's got some pretty decent video. Will you explain to him how best to handle these on YouTube?
Well, the best thing to do is just go ahead and post that sucker on up there. And I've got a bunch of them that I've been starting to post, and it's kind of interesting. But what's really interesting is once you kind of get to where you can transcribe all that stuff and put it on a complaint, that's where it's going to get real good. But speaking of getting, I called 911.
Wait a minute, Scott. Transcribe all of that stuff. Will you back up and say that again? I didn't quite get what you're saying.
Well, once you have a video of these public officials making any kind of comments out of line or anything like that, you can transcribe that into a criminal complaint, and that becomes very powerful. That's what I'm in the process of doing right now with one of my latest little events. So I'm going to be, I've got it all transcribed.
Okay. Is there a way to post these on YouTube so they get better coverage or more hits? I've never posted on YouTube, so how do you do that?
Well, everybody, if he has a YouTube account, he knows how to post a video, I'm sure. And it's, I just had one that got, for some reason, I think it was because they were trying to accuse me of being a sovereign, and it went out that way, but it had 1.8 million views so far. And I had Channel 4, Channel 8, and Channel 11 come out because it went viral. And so it just kind of really stirred a lot of stuff up because people had to actually start looking at the law.
Right.
Okay. Let me finish up with Oliver, and then I'll get back to you. Thank you, Scott.
Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, go ahead, Oliver.
Isn't sovereign what they call people like us?
Wait, I couldn't understand that.
Isn't sovereign what they call people who do things like us?
Yeah, well, they just make up these names. Anything to discredit you, that's a poisoning the well technique. Like we call them pigs. It's just a derogatory term. We had a lot of people calling themselves sovereign citizens. And so the FBI kind of jumped on this and claims that anybody who's a sovereign is an armed insurrectionist against the government. It's just your standard propaganda garbage. And whenever they accuse me of being a sovereign citizen, I said, are you kidding? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. You can't be a sovereign citizen. It's a contradiction of terms, an oxymoron. You're either a sovereign or a citizen. So which are you? Are you a sovereign or are you a citizen? And I asked the cop that. So get away with that nonsense.
So as far as these two officers who basically arrested us in front of my house and forced us to come out the vehicle and identify ourselves, search my So those will be criminal complaints that I'll be filing?
Oh, yes. False imprisonment. We've got some cool statutes in Texas. One of them has, as far as I can tell, has never been used. 2202B2A. 2202 says that if a person commits simple assault as defined by 2201, and 2201 defines simple assault as offensive speech or offensive touching. If a person commits simple assault while prominently displaying a deadly weapon, that is a second-degree felony. Unless the person is a public official acting under the color, meaning pretense of an official authority, in which case it is a felony of the first degree. So an officer come and order me out of my car when he has no authority to do so, and he's prominently displaying a deadly weapon, first-degree felony. The 21st of this month, I will go to the Wise County, Texas grand jury, and I will file first-degree felony aggravated assault charge against my district judge because he had the bailiff put his hand on my arm in order to prevent me from exercising a statutorily guaranteed right. I'm going to accuse the judge of first-degree felony aggravated assault of assaulting me with the bailiff. And the district attorney is going to stand aside. This is going to be so much fun. Okay, this is once you get this down, and it only takes one or two rounds through this. Once you get through with these guys, none of those officers are ever going to want to mess with you.
So, do I file this complaint with the grand jury or in district?
No, okay, you follow the routine. You start at the bottom. You give the police department opportunity to remedy. You've already started that. You asked the chief to arrest these guys, and the chief refused. So then you just follow the chain of command. You go to the mayor.
The incident. This is another incident.
Okay.
This is another incident. This is clearly after I made them mad. They know where I live at. They know I'm always out. They came by. They roll around my neighborhood, and they saw me parked in front of my house.
So, are you saying they already knew who you were?
Yeah. One of the cops that was there, I got him on video where I fell asleep at the light, and he came and checked on me and told me how to get out of the car. I took off on him, and they chased me they followed me to the house, searched the car, searched the premises, couldn't find me. Then they filed out warrants for driving on suspended license and fleeing and eluding. I went to court. I got both charges dismissed. And he's still thinking that we're waiting to go to high court. I'm like, man, those charges are dismissed. And right now, you're threatening me on record, talking about you're going to arrest me after I done went through the system. How many times? You know how many dismissals, like that paperwork I got inside? I'm like, you want to arrest me? Go ahead, buddy.
Okay.
Fine.
Wait a minute. I'm losing my place here. Is this the last? Okay, are you talking about the last arrest now?
This is. I have so many incidences. This is one of those incidences in between that.
Oh, okay. But I'm kind of getting confused on where you're at. Once you start going back after them, if you have a lot of incidents, have you pretty well been cleared in most of these instances?
Yeah. All of them have been dismissed. All of them have been dismissed.
That shows a pattern of abuse.
Right. And the last one, I don't know what's going on, but when I went into the public defender's office, she was like, "Why did they pull you over? Your name's supposed to be on the list." I looked at her. I'm like, "What you mean?" She's like, "Well, why? Tell me why they pull you over." I'm like, "Well, because I was in my wife's car. There was no way that they could have possibly known that it was me in the car." But in my head, I'm thinking, like, what do you mean I'm on the list?
Yeah, they probably ran the license and it came back to your wife and they saw a guy in there and they knew it was you. When you start going after them, they'll put you on a different list. And Scott can tell you about that list. That's the list where they pull in behind you and follow you a while and then pull around you and take off and leave you the heck alone. They don't want nothing to do with you. They don't like people who fight back. They don't like people who take them to task. And I'm not suggesting that we fight with the police. What I'm suggesting is that we insist that the police follow law and sting them when they don't. Just so they do things right. Hang on, about to go to break. Randy Kelton, Rule Law Radio. We'll be right back.
The fountain of youth? How about the fountain of health? Turmeric, a golden herb used in Indian cooking, contains an amazing compound that has researchers doing cartwheels. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll tell you about terrific turmeric in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Turmeric is the spice that lends that golden yellow color to curry dishes. It's been traditionally used in Asian medicine to treat everything from indigestion to arthritis. Now Western doctors say curcumin, a compound found in turmeric, can help treat breast cancer and liver disease, reduce inflammation, and lower cholesterol. It may also help Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, irritable bowel syndrome, depression, and even lymphoma. You don't need expensive supplements to get the benefits. Turmeric is available in the spice aisle of your supermarket or as an ingredient in curry. Heat some oil in a pan, saute an onion, sprinkle in some turmeric, and add your favorite vegetable. Voila! No side effects and no prescription required. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Trails. You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
I see two.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Rule Law Radio. We're talking to Oliver in Tennessee, but Oliver, we need to move along. We got 2 more callers and 2 segments, so we need to get on with it. But just work the system on them. Just start with every person you talk to. Think, okay, who is this guy's direct supervisor? And you work all the way up, and you want to get up to the highest judge you can. And once you've got to the highest judge, the higher up you get, the less likely they are to do anything, but they will be less difficult to deal with. And if you're having problems with the police on the bottom, and you go up and file against, say, the district judge in your district, these policemen are going to be terrified of you. I had a policeman come up to me. I live next to City Hall in a small town, and I was doing some plastic welding on a tank, and we had a fire ban on, and I had a little propane torch doing the welding. And this new policeman in town, didn't know who I was, came up and said, sir. And I turned around and said, yes. Sir, you can't have that open flame. And I held up the torch and I said, sure can. Look, nothing to it. No, you don't understand. We have a fire ban on. And I had a bunch of pressure washing equipment. I said, you see this equipment? I can outrun the fire department with it. Yes, Mr. Sir, but you still can't have that open flame. I said, wait a minute. You're kidding me, right? You're just joshing me. Oh, no, Mr. Kelton. I am not kidding. Wait a minute. That district judge, John Fostel, sent you down here to harass me, didn't he? Just because I filed one crummy little criminal complaint against him with the Attorney General. He sent you down here, didn't he? The officer takes a step back, holds up both hands with his palms out. Oh, one moment, sir. Pulls out his cell phone, dials it, and then about 30 seconds, the City Hall door opens. This is a little town, so it's a real small building. The City Hall door opens, and Tom steps out and looks across at where I'm at and said, Randy, what are you doing to my new officer? Oh, Tom, I was just jerking his chain. And the officer said, put his hand on his heart and said, oh, God, I saw my whole career flash before my eyes. There's an important moral in that story. These officers are terrified of those high-level judges. When you go to those high-level judges, when they don't have a case on you, when you go to them to invoke their duty, the higher level they are, the more cautious they are. And the more careful with you they will be. And the more angry they will be when you file against them, because they wouldn't take a complaint against some chump down below them. And these policemen, when you start When you start thumping those high-level judges, these cops are not going to want to have anything to do with you. Does that make sense?
Right. Last situation, trying to make it fast. Got a car sitting on a trailer in front of my house. House, grass, on the street, on the trailer. I figure this cop, they all know each other. I figure he was going to show me something, put stickers all over my cars. Well, one of them got towed, and it was on the trailer. The BMW said that it was abandoned. And the 3-day sticker, the tow company. So I went to the tow company. I got the slip. And when I went to go check the law that they cited was 10-101. And that law deals with car accidents that deal with death.
Ooh, that should, okay, if they cited an incorrect statute?
Nowhere on that statute says anything about abandonment. And even the statute that I did find that has anything about abandonment doesn't say, there's nothing about abandonment in front of your home.
Oh, then they stole your car.
Yes.
And charge them with it. What did it cost to get it back from the tow company?
$110.
Sue them for 3 times that. Or go to the police department, or go to the mayor and file a claim with the mayor against the police officer's bond. This will get their attention. The police officer has to be bonded, and the city carries the bond. So you go to the city and you want to know how to file against these officers' bonds. And the city attorney or the city manager is going to get real excited about that, because when you make a claim against their bond, the bond rating goes up for everybody. Costs the city a lot of money. What do you think is going to happen to these police officers when they cost the city a lot of money?
So, okay, file against that bond. Do I need to prove myself innocent in this case or something? Because right now it's considered a misdemeanor. I'm like, how did my car get taken from my house and I'm being charged with a misdemeanor?
Charge them with official oppression, filing a false report.
Official oppression.
Okay. Call back next Thursday. We'll have more time to go through it. I've got 2 more callers who've been waiting a long time.
Okay.
And I've only got 2 segments left.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Call back next Thursday. We'll pick this up.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you, Oliver. Okay. Now we're going to go to Gabriel in Oregon. Hello, Gabriel.
Hey, Randy. I'm the guy that called you about the DUI and the refusal of my habeas corpus. You got thrown in jail for asking for clarification to be informed of the nature and cause of the charges and proceedings, to enter an informed and voluntary plea. And I've been reading the Criminal Code of Criminal Procedure, which is mostly in the Oregon Revised Statutes, and the timeline, as you suggested last time. And I'm wondering about suing them, and I'm wondering about some motions I should file, and I'm wondering if you could start off by telling me what is the purpose of an arraignment.
Okay. An arraignment. An arraignment is a hearing for the purpose of determining the identity of the accused and taking a plea. Let me back up and give some context for that. The way the codes are structured, a police officer makes an arrest. If he makes an arrest with or without a warrant, he's required to bring the person directly to the nearest magistrate, and the magistrate holds an examining trial. A criminal complaint or an existing warrant gives the magistrate jurisdiction to hold a hearing. The magistrate holds the hearing. If the magistrate finds probable cause, then the magistrate will issue an order showing that he found probable cause and take all the documents had in the hearing and forward them to the clerk of the court of jurisdiction. This is how jurisdiction gets from the magistrate to the courts. Now, the court receives this. Now, they've never seen you. They don't know anything about you. So they call you in to confirm your identity and take your plea. That's what the arraignment is.
Right.
Okay.
And this is all based on the Constitution, the no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, as well as the right to not self-incriminate or self-testify. But also in an arraignment, I do have the right to and have to be informed of the nature and cause before I can enter an informed and voluntary plea.
Exactly. And be careful. Don't confuse an arraignment with an examining trial. Now, they hold what they call a magistration. It's kind of a hybrid horse manure. It's a hearing that, if you put if you type magistration into Microsoft Word, it puts a little red line under it because it doesn't recognize it. The reason it doesn't recognize it is these guys made it up, don't exist. So they want to hold an arraignment and call it a magistration and pretend like it's an examining trial because they don't want to give you an examining trial. So when you think about it, arraignment is only for the purpose of determining the identity and taking a plea. And yes, you have to know what you're pleading to, so you need nature and cause. Hang on, about to go to break. Randy Kelton, Vet Pack Rule of Law Radio. We'll be right back.
Easy.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Rule of Law Radio, and we're talking to Gabriel in Oregon. We need to move quickly, Gabriel, because I've got Scott on here, and he wants to get on and crow about how adroitly and effectively he got himself arrested. Okay, I'm just picking on Scott because he deserves it.
So this judge at the arraignment asserted that I have a history of mental illness several times, threatened me with jail several times, and then put me in jail because he didn't want to be responsive to any of the clarifications so that I could be informed. And the stop was for taillight bulbs and headlight out. I didn't do the breath test.
Wait a minute. Hold on. This arraignment was for traffic issues?
It was for a DUI, but it started with taillight out.
Okay.
And our magistration...
Okay, wait a minute. Here's the reason I asked that question. In Texas, an arraignment can only be held for a offense that's punishable by imprisonment. So if you get a ticket and they call you to court and they don't hold an examining trial, they identify you and take a plea, that's an arraignment. You need to check the law to see if they can do that on a traffic ticket. Okay, go ahead. You're in Oregon, so it may well be different.
Right. Yeah, I don't recall seeing anything about magistrations in the Oregon Code, but all they have is the cop's hearsay, which I plan on thoroughly destroying in front of a jury. And I looked up the code, and they do classify it as a non-arrestable traffic violation, and I intend to sue the cop, the city, the county, and the judge. So I've been through motions hearing, pretrial hearing, and again do some more motions hearings. And at pretrial, to preserve the record for appeal and to bring it up at trial, I objected and moved to strike as malicious prosecution, fruit of the poisonous tree, the exclusionary rule for illegal stop and arrest, failure to respond to my discovery and Brady request, and motion to dismiss. And yeah, they just keep
have you got a nice juicy motion in limine in?
I do. That's the other one. Yes, sir.
Good.
And I'm wondering if you can give me some information on writ of mandamus versus writ of prohibition. I assume it would be a writ of mandamus because they have
writ of mandamus is
process.
Writ of mandamus. You ask a higher court to order a lower court to do what the law requires them to do. Prohibition is the opposite. You ask the court to order them not to do something that they don't have a right to do.
Okay. And then as far as suing them, do you think I should do a federal lawsuit, which I really want to do, or should I just go after the city for risk management?
If you're going to do a federal lawsuit, I would suggest you look at the possibility of doing a RICO suit.
Okay.
If they did these things to you, they most likely did them to everybody else. And you can do a RICO suit in the form of a private attorney general suit.
Right.
The term private attorney general suit is a term the courts made up to define a suit where you sue in your behalf and in the behalf of others similarly situated.
Right.
Okay.
And
that makes sense?
Yeah, I'll listen to it again after the recording is done. But isn't a RICO just across state lines, multiple racketeering across state lines? I thought it was.
No, don't have to be state lines. Federal due process.
Okay.
Ongoing, predicate acts in furtherance of an ongoing criminal enterprise. What they did to you, they will have done to other people. So you can show a pattern of misconduct, and that's all you need. A pattern of misconduct that has the effect of denying due process. That's essentially what you need for RICO. You need more than one person. You need 3 people.
And the judge that threw me in the cage did recuse himself, but that was after I did my first motion to vacate plea. And I keep telling every judge that I come in front of, I'm going to assume you know Mark Stevens here, and I keep telling them, I intend to plead guilty here today. I just have a few clarifications. Do I have the right to make an informed plea of guilty here today? And then they say yes. And I say, has the prosecutor submitted any evidence to establish jurisdiction over me? And they just are completely non-responsive and shut down and try and get me out of there at that point. And the pretrial judge actually walked off the bench because I was hammering them over and over, saying, I do not appreciate and I object to you the threat of force and violence that you guys use to compel me to be in here every time, and saying stuff like that, just hammering them. And then my friend and I reworked and reformatted and again put in all these motions that they just threw out. And that was by the motions hearing judge before the pretrial hearing. And
have you asked for findings of fact and conclusions at law from each of these judges when they rule?
Yes, absolutely. And I asked her, has the prosecutor submitted evidence sufficient to overcome my motions? She said, yes, she did. I said, well, where is it and how come I haven't gotten a copy? Oh, she doesn't ask you. Has she submitted any evidence to establish jurisdiction over me? Yes, she did. Where is it and how come I haven't gotten a copy? How come she hasn't responded to my Brady and discovery? And I asked the judge at pretrial, who is responsible for the fallout of the the unconstitutional denial of my habeas corpus, and he says, "Oh, I can't tell you that." And I kept asking him questions like that about jurisdiction as well, and they're just completely non-responsive. So I'm going to put in a demand for a jury trial. And should I move for a summary judgment, or couldn't they just say, "Okay, I'm going to find you guilty"?
I'm not sure the context of your request for summary judgment. So to say yes, you can or no, you can't, I wouldn't know how to answer that. You've kind of fed me with a fire hose here.
Sorry, I'm just trying.
You are no. Don't hold on. Be sorry. You have your case together well. So you kind of walk me down the line really quick, really well. But it's too much for me to put together all at once. I have probably 10,000 questions here. But you've obviously done your homework. You're the reason I do this show.
Thank you. You're awesome. I've been listening to you for a number of years. But basically, they all refuse to be responsive as soon as the issue of jurisdiction comes up. And
okay, that brings the question: what duty do they have to respond?
Right. Well,
no, that wasn't rhetorical. Mm-hmm. Where I'm going to, if they have a duty to respond and they don't, file criminally against them, denying you due process.
Yeah.
Just ask the bailiff to drag him off the bench. I have done that a number of times and never had a judge say a word when I did that. Because if he says one word, tampering with a witness, obstruction of justice, it gets real deep for him. Because he knows the real power in the courtroom is the bailiff. It is the bailiff who's there to keep the peace, and it makes no difference who breaches it. You, prosecutor, judge. The judge breaches the peace, he has a duty to arrest him. An offense committed in his sight and in his presence. And when I ask them to, the judges get real quiet. But consider that, we're the masters, they're the servants. This judge, he has a duty to determine the facts in accordance with the rules of evidence, apply the law as it comes to him to the facts in the case. If he has another agenda, if he does something else, that goes to ultra vires, out of scope.
Did I tell you that judge that threw me in jail for trying to be informed recused himself on the 8th, which was the day after the motions hearing, where I kept asking, okay, where's my copy of the evidence that you claim she submitted to the court to overcome my motion and to establish jurisdiction over me?
Have you filed criminally against the judge?
What do you mean by that? A criminal complaint or a
official oppression?
I'm going to. I printed it out and I'm working on it right now. But at the same time, I'm working on a motion to disqualify to go along with my motion to vacate, so that I can actually get back an arraignment and get a real arraignment.
Good. Well, the thing about criminal, it's separate from your case. And that runs over here in the background. Now, you're forbidden to use criminal complaints to gain leverage in a primarily a civil case, right, but it's going to apply to a prosecution. However, you just don't bring it up. You can file the criminal complaints against the judge at the same time and use the criminal complaint against the judge to move to disqualify the judge.
Okay. Did you know
muddy their water big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I am sorry, Scott. We didn't get to you, and you had some crowing to do. We'll bring Scott on next week, next Thursday. We'll bring him up at the top so he can crow about how adroitly he got arrested. Okay, I am sorry, Gabriel. I wish I'd have got to you earlier. If you'll call back Thursday, I'll bring you up second after Scott gets to crow about being arrested. We are out of time. This is Randy Kelton, Vet Pack, Rule of Law Radio. We'll be back next Thursday at 8 o'clock and for our 2-hour show, and then next Friday for our 4-hour info marathon. Thank you all for listening, and good night. Dangerous.